Welcome to history. What's up, you guys? My name is Raya. Hey now. A lot of you know this already, but you know, a lot of you don't. And in case you're wondering, the name's Raya. Hello. I have been wanting to do a video like this for like the past year and a half, but I could never figure out. I'm just not the type of, I don't know, I love doing makeup, doing my makeup and doing other people's, but I don't like talking about it. So like so for the next, I'm going to be using blah 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 blah. Oh my god, this like blurs my pores so bad. Like, that's just not me. I love conversation and I love doing my makeup, you know, with like girlfriends and stuff, and like we do our makeup and we talk and all that stuff. That's the kind of stuff I like, you know, being on a real level. So I have tried like having normal girl talk. I have tried doing like tips, like life tips or whatever, and doing my makeup, but it just kind of never really stuck with me. So I'm going to try something different, where like these things are like, they're important, and like you can learn and watch me do my makeup at the same time, you know, if you want to. But I will be talking about all of these different things that kind of affect our world today. So yeah, let's get into it. These are the best notes I have ever taken in life, like ever, and I've been out of school for 2 years now. So today we're going to be talking about Marxism. Not necessarily Marxism. I'm just going to talk about Marxism at the end, but a name that I do remember learning about in school or hearing in school was Karl Marx. However, did not know that Karl Marx and Marxism, you know, were the same thing. So I need to find a place to put notes. So Karl Marx was born in 1818 in Trier, Germany. So his birthday was May 5th. For whatever reason, I didn't think until like literally just now, like, to see what zodiac that is. Let's see. Tauruses are empathetic, down-to-earth, confident, adaptable, stubborn, humorous, impatient, and sensible. Let's see what all of those characteristics are, you know, he has. So Karl Marx was born May 5th, 1818. I promise you I'm not going to say that again. But he was homeschooled until he was 12. He was not with the public kids. And his family, they were kind of like middle class. Like they weren't poor. They weren't like bad off. But they, you know, were not the greatest off either. So like they still had some, you know, social statuses to keep up with, but like it could be more. Like they could have, you know, had to uphold more or whatever. So in 1830, Mr. Karl Marx was 12 years old, and he then attended Jesuit whatever high school in Trier, Germany. Now this school was formerly known as Friedrich Wilhelm Gymnasium. The principal of the school was a liberal as well as a Kantian, but he was also Karl Marx's dad's friend. So, you know, I tried to find, maybe like I just didn't try hard enough or whatever, but I tried to find if like you had to like pay for this school, and like maybe he got in if he had to pay for it, then he probably got in for free because, you know, his dad and the principal were cool or whatever. But this school was known to be surrounded by a lot of suspicion due to the principal being a liberal. And in 1832, the school was raided upon suspicion of So I for whatever reason struggle with talking and doing my eyebrows at the same time. But the school was raided in 1832 upon like suspicion of like liberal teachings or radical views. Mostly due to the principal being a liberal, but yeah, so they were raided because they were already, like, the town was already very suspicious of the school. So the school was raided, but like nothing was found like out of the ordinary or anything. And so like the government really just kind of watched the school very, very heavily afterwards. It was said that Marx stayed there from 1830 to 1835, so I believe he also graduated from there. In 1835, Karl was 17 years old. He moved to Bonn, Germany to go to Bonn University. And Bonn University is like known for its like rebellious, like the rebellious acts of the students, I guess. And like, I guess rebelling against the government and everything. Or just like rebelling against rules or what have you. They didn't like specify, the sources that I like looked up didn't specify like how far like these rebellions like went, but I'm assuming they mean like just like, you know, when kids are like growing up in very strict homes, so then by the time like once they actually leave the homes, then like they just go all out because they've never had the chance to, you know, have fun like ever in life. So they're like, you know, now or never. That's when YOLO really, I guess, becomes a thing for kids that are raised in strict homes. So anywho, it was said that Karl Marx was like, he like fit right in. Like he was like, oh, we turning all the way up? Okay, let me join. So like, you know, let me go change my tie real quick. This is not my drinking tie or whatever. So he was then arrested for what they call drunkenness, or what we call these days public intoxication. And he was also arrested for dueling with one of the students, what we know today as getting into a fight. So after 2 semesters, or, you know, just his first year altogether, his parents were like, absolutely not. No, you are going to a different school because you're not taking this seriously, and you are giving us a bad name, pretty much. So his father then enrolled him, his father Heinrich, then enrolled our Karl into the University of Berlin, in Berlin, Germany. So in 1836, Karl is now 18. So he's attending the University of Berlin in Berlin, Germany, where he studies philosophy and, get this, becomes secretly engaged to a Miss Jenny von Westphalen, who's apparently, allegedly, this beautiful rich girl, pretty much. She had a higher social class than, or she was a part of a higher social class than Karl himself. So imagine how his parents felt finding out. They're like, first you're going to embarrass us at Bonn by going all out, getting arrested, fighting, getting drunk, then fighting, and getting arrested because of both of them. You're going to do us like that, and now you're secretly engaged to this girl who's like so much better than you? Like, come on now. We raised you with standards, pretty much, is what what the vibe I was getting, but you know, what do I know? I wasn't around then. So it just says that they were not very happy about this secret engagement, and Carl was just kind of like, okay, like, you don't have to like it because, well, you're not the one that's getting married. Like, y'all are already married to each other. I have to look at my notes for this one because it's some letters involved, but it says Carl was introduced to the philosophy of G.F.W. Hegel, and he became a young Hegelian, or is it Hegel and Hegelian? I don't know, but he became a part of this group, and like today we know them as stands. So he was like a stand for this G.W.F. Hegel person and his philosophy. And this person also taught at the University of Berlin up until he died in 18. So this group of people, they pretty much just criticized political and religious establishments, you know, just kind of picking them apart, trying to figure out, you know, who came up with this, why is it that like all of these people follow this, that kind of thing, like trying to figure it out, and then just kind of probably, I don't know, I try to refrain, or I'm trying to refrain from giving my opinion whilst I tell, you know, this information, tell these stories, because I don't want you guys to think that like what I'm saying is like true tea or whatever. I just want, and look, I'm usually just talking my mess, so I'm gonna try to refrain from talking my mess while I'm actually trying to tell you the truth. We're working on it. It said that they criticized religious and political establishments. Now, whatever that means, or to what extent that means, I have no idea, but this is what they did. This is what the young Hegelians were about. So we are going to fast forward to 1841, and in 1841, our Carl is now 23 years old, and he receives his doctorate from the University of Jena in Jena, Thuringia, Germany. And like after graduation, he wanted to become a teacher, but due to his radical political beliefs, am I out of focus? Due to his radical political beliefs, he was not allowed to be a teacher. They, like, schools would not hire him as a teacher. They're like, you're not going to teach our kids to go against our government system, pretty much. That kind of thing. So instead, he became a journalist, because in journalism, he could do or say whatever he want, you know, and, you know, we'll get to that. So in 1842, Carl is now 24 years old, and he became editor of Rheinische Zeitung, which was a liberal newspaper in Cologne, Germany. In case you haven't gathered by now, our boy got, like, he was just all over the map, you know, trying to find workplaces, trying to be great in his own sense, trying to live his version of his best life, okay? And Germany was just kind of like, your version of your best life is kind of out there for us. Like, we're not there yet. So he became editor of this liberal newspaper, and a year later, the government ordered suppression of this very newspaper, effective April 1st, 1843. A few weeks prior, our boy was like, you know what? I've had enough of, like, y'all trying to shut me up and all that. So he left he resigned from being editor of this liberal newspaper, moved or got married. Remember, he was secretly engaged to Miss Jenny Von. So he then, get this, so he quit his job, got married, and he got engaged. He was like 17, 18, got married at 25. It was in June, so he had turned 25 by then. Long time, right? Moved to France. He was like, you know what? I've kind of had it. Y'all not trying to... What eye was I working on? This one. Y'all were not trying to let me be great. So, I'm going to go to a place that is going to let me be great. But the government in France at that time was also not the greatest. So, France was like, we'll let you live here, but like, we're not too sure about you just yet. Where he then befriends this guy, Arnold Rouge. Not Rouge as in red, but Rouge as in R-U-G-E, Arnold Rouge. They then become collaborators and founders or co-founders of a political journal called Dutch French Annals, like analyses or whatever, I guess. Yeah. You know, since one of them was French and one of them was German, Dutch, I'm assuming. That's what they came up with, so that's what they stuck with. But they both had different views, different philosophical views, and so they only managed to publish one volume of this journal before disbanding it or pretty much crashing and burning because they couldn't agree. So, the following year, in 1844, our Carl is now 26 years old, and he befriends a Friedrich Engels, who he then collaborates with, and they both create the Holy Family. But the Holy Family was not published until the following year, 1845, when our Carl was then 27. So in 1845, Marx was exiled from France. You know, obvious reasons. You know, he was just a little too outrageous with his political views. And France, you know, just they were not with it, you know. Like, they were like, you know, you view different things than us. You can view whatever you want as long as we don't know about it. But the moment you publish it and put it out there, you're ruining things for us. So, France was like, you gotta go. So then he hightailed it to Brussels, Belgium. While he was in Brussels, he was introduced to socialism by Moses Hess. And I didn't think to do like different, like, I guess different like background checks or just dig up, you know, these things about all of these different people, just because I know for me, I would have ended up telling somebody else's entire story and like not really making it back to, you know, our guy. So since he was introduced to socialism, our boy decided to leave the young Hedgelians, cut all ties with them. I guess now he's thinking, you know, I'm learning different things. I'm learning about different things. You know, he's coming into his own opinion about different philosophies and politics and different practices and stuff. So you know, maybe he's had a change of heart. So he left the young Hegelians. Then he went on to write the German ideology, which spoke a lot on historical materialism and pretty much how that can affect like the world in his day, but also in the future, how like materialism can, and like capitalism altogether, can pretty much ruin a country, and like things that rise have to fall and stuff like that. And so then there's gonna be some kind of change. He also wrote thesis on Feuerbach, Feuerbach. Both of these bodies of works, though, were not published until after he died in 1883. So we're not going to see this stuff until, you know, our boy's dead and gone. And right now he's 27 and still very well alive. 1846, our John is now 28 years old. Jeez. He got old fast. He founded the Communist Correspondent Community, or Correspondence Community, and his theory or his reasoning behind creating this was to reach out and like connect with other socialists in Europe, you know, or around Europe. It worked to like a certain degree, you know. So this inspired other socialists in England to create the Communist League. And then like the following year, when our boy was 29, the Communist League then asked him and Engels to write the Manifesto der Kommunistischen Partei. So, the Manifesto of the Communist Party, and these days it's known as the Communist Manifesto. They wrote it, and then like the following year published it. I was like, what is that noise? It's my phone ringing. There are like a lot of years where like nothing really happens in his life, nothing new or extraordinary. But in 1849 though, our John was now, or John, what? Our Carl was now 31 years old, and he was expelled from Belgium. And get this, boy like could not find where to go, so he pretty much spent the whole year trying to find a place to live. He tried to go back to France, or he tried to go back to France and was deported immediately. Then he went to Prussia, and Prussia like refused to like renaturalize him. So they were like, yeah, no, like we don't want those issues. And so he then went to England, and he actually lived in England until he died. But Britain was like, we're not giving you citizenship though. And like without citizenship, he just stayed in England. Because I mean, homeboy had nowhere else to go. He like, I guess he pissed off too many government systems. Did I say England? I definitely meant London. Which I mean, same thing. But yeah, he lived in London until he died. In 1850, he helped found the German Workers' Society. Goodness. So like he was trying, like he was really doing, he was doing decent things. It's just that at the time, like all of these different government, you know, systems, government parties, whatever, they were like not there for it. You know, they were not there for any kind of change. Especially Great Britain, they like, keep in mind at the time that he was born, 1818, that was what, 40 years 43 years after, or 42 years, 42, 43, after, like, America got its freedom. So, America, the country, got the freedom. People in it, different story. But the country itself got its freedom from Great Britain. So, you know, around this time, they are, like, not here for somebody else challenging the government. So, yeah, homeboy had to kind of make do with what he had, where he had it, or where he could get it, or take what he can get whenever he could. Like, he struggled. Never once, though, did I ever hear anything, like, about a divorce, but keep in mind, also, around this time, divorces are, like, shamed upon or frowned upon. So, I didn't see anything about him cheating on his wife, or his wife cheating on him, or, you know, him having a mistress, and she having a mister. So, anywho, this has nothing to do with. After finding the German Workers' Educational Society, he becomes a journalist again. He starts working as a journalist, and he also starts a 10-year stint, like 2 years later. So, he starts a 10-year stint with the New York Daily Tribune from 1852 to 1862. But, like, he wasn't making a working wage or a livable wage or anything. So, Engels, remember Engels, you know, the one that he wrote the Communist Manifesto with? He actually was pretty much the financial horse of Carl's life. So, since, you know, Carl was working but was not really getting paid, Engels had to pretty much foot the money for him to live. And I was looking, like, where was his wife at this point? Because she was filthy stinking rich. And couldn't find anything. I also wasn't looking that hard, though. Yeah, definitely could not find much about her. So, I have zero idea what happened to her. Because I do know that, like, he and his wife moved to London. So, just don't know what happened to her after that. Then in 1867, our boy was 49 years old. And this is around the time where he started to get rather ill. He kept writing, you know, he still wrote. He still held his political views. He still valued his own ideology. Like, whatever body of work he worked on, he, like, wasn't finishing them. Maybe it had to do with him being so sick. But, yeah, he, like, hardly finished anything. And so things were not being released or published. Look at that. I ain't even put on no highlighter. So things were not being released or published or anything because, like, he wasn't finishing anything. In 1883, he was 65 years old, and he died of pleurism. He died of, like, really bad lung issues. So he could have been sick, you know, with, like, the flu or any kind of disease really that, like, really just kind of infected his lungs. So that's how he died on March 14th, 1883 at 65 years old. And following his death, my God, I can't believe I forgot about this. But last week, so actually it's been like a little bit less than a week. So a little less than a week ago, I was on Facebook and I came across this video of Bailey Sarian doing her murder mystery makeup Mondays. It was one of her videos, and one of those videos, and I immediately fell in love. And then I was mad at myself too, because I was like, why didn't I think of that like a year and a half ago when I was really struggling to find what to talk about? Since then, I've like binged the daylights out of her videos, and like I really just love them. Like, they're so good. She's so funny. Oh my god, and her makeup is amazing. Bailey, you are amazing, girl. If you are watching this, I absolutely love you. I love your work, your makeup, these stories, how you tell the stories and everything. Like, I just, whew. Like, sometimes when you say certain things, like, because you talk to us like we're sitting in the same room. And so then, like, I'm, like, responding to you like we're in the same room. And it's just so funny because it's just so funny to me because, like, my boyfriend would be here, and, like, he'll watch our videos, too, so we watch them together. And, he's, like, I would say, oh, my God, I love it. I love her videos. And he's like, I can tell. But, like, you would say something, and I would respond as if, like, we're sitting in the same room and, like, you're talking directly to me. And he would just be laughing at me. But, like, I can't help but laugh at myself, too, because then I'm, like, I realize, like, girl, you just said that out loud, you know? So, anywho's, this is way too much powder, but here we are. Bailey, if you are watching this, girl, I love you. I love your work. Love your videos. Love your Murder Mystery Mondays. I'm always there. So, I mean, like, this is technically, well, I'm filming this on a Tuesday. So, yesterday was technically the first Monday that, like, I've been there for your Murder Mystery Mondays. But, considering I binged all the other ones, girl, I be in that thing. I was there for those two. So, how you doing? Ingalls kind of, like, finished them for him, and he also released those. So, you can find his bodies of work, out there. I know they're in libraries, if people, you know, go to libraries these days. I like libraries. So, yeah, so you can still find his bodies of work if you don't go to a, Jesus, now it's on my shirt. If you don't go to libraries, you can also look up online, and I'm sure you can find them. So that's the story of our dear Karl Marx. But what made me want to do this story is because Marxism is something that I've been hearing a lot of lately. And then, like, I found out that some people that, like, I either was, like, friends with or acquaintances with, or even knew of but didn't know personally, found out that they are Marxists and stuff. And I was like, you know, I keep hearing this word, and I know I've heard it before, but I have no idea what that means. I don't know what they're talking about. But instead of making an excuse as to why I don't know, because, like, the real reason why I don't know is because they actually kind of failed to teach us that in school. But considering I am now 24 years old, it's like I know how to use the internet. I know how to look stuff up. So I was just like, you know what? They may not have taught it to me in school, but, or, like, gone in depth like they should have, but that doesn't mean that I can't, like, find it on my own. So I actually ended up looking it up myself just so that I could kind of get an understanding. And that's, you know, when I seen the name Karl Marx, and I was like, oh, that's that guy. Since Marxism derived or came from Karl Marx himself, obviously it's named after him. I wanted to obviously do more of a background check on him so that I can see if he, like, where these lines connect. You know, how did we go from him being, like, you know, I guess a normal person to this philosopher, you know, and where did his beliefs come from, pretty much. So I had to do that research on my own. So, what is Marxism? Now that we've, you know, done the background of Karl Marx, Marxism is the political, economic, and social theories, including the belief that struggle between social classes is a major force in history, and there should eventually be a society where there are no classes. That is what Marxism is. So, but like, it really confuses me, like, right now to, when people say stuff like, you know, I'm a Marxist, or I'm a trained Marxist at that. Like, granted, I'm just now learning what all of this is and what it means, but, like, you know, these people, like, to me it sounds more like they're theorists, in a, you know, because Marxism is a theory and not necessarily a, like, a state, I guess, like a political state. So, another note that I took down was society's classes are the cause of struggle. This is what Karl Marx believed. Society's classes are the cause of struggle, and society should have no classes. So, you know, especially coming from somebody who was not of the higher class, so he, you know, witnessed some sort of a struggle, like, that his parents had, you know, with him growing up, and pretty much all his life, really, because he was never really financially stable. He definitely just lived off of Engels, according to what I read. You know, he lived off of somebody else, and then spoke about, or believed, you know, if everybody was on the same level, then, like, or if everybody had social and economic, like, equality, then people would not struggle as bad. And so then an example of Marxism was, or the example that I was given was replacing private ownership with cooperative ownership. And the way it's supposed to work, but this is, like, kind of why I guess people are saying it wouldn't work, is Marxism requires each person, let me finish this, because I don't necessarily want to finish and then, like, not know what to say afterwards, so I'd rather finish my makeup. Marxism requires each person in society to work for the common good. Wait. So Marxism requires each person within society works for a common good, and class struggle is theoretically gone. The con side, or the downside to Marxism, is it does not take into account the essential greediness and selfishness of the human being. Now, selfishness is a learned behavior, so it was saying that it doesn't take into account the greediness and the selfishness of the human being, which is why Marxism wouldn't work, which obviously that's something that I definitely thought about when I was like, studying this, like, because you're thinking, you know, if they're talking about social and economic equality, excuse me, that sounds great, right? That sounds great for a society, except you have people that are greedy, that, you know, the reason that, like, we're stuck in a system where people are struggling and the rich people profit off of the struggling people, and, like, the rich don't pay taxes or whatever, is because they're greedy. And, like, they force these social class, and we're, like, forced into social classes or whatever, economic classes for sure, solely based off of that, you know, like, there are certain groups of people, certain bodies of people that are not allowed above a certain tax bracket. And his theory is, you know, pretty much you get rid of that, make everybody equal, because everybody's a human being and we all need the same basic necessities. People wouldn't struggle as much. And, like, Marxism also relies heavily on people working hard for the sake of working hard and foregoing or forgetting the ability to get rich. So then it's like, well, you're working hard, but you have, like, nothing to look forward to after the hard work, but it's like what you're looking forward to is not having a hard, what you should be looking forward to is not having a hard time. But, like, we're in a time where not having a hard time means being rich and having money at our expense at all times, you know. So that is Marxism, ladies and gentlemen. Created by Sir Karl Heinrich Marx, born May 5th. Forgot already. Yeah, he was born on Cinco de Mayo. Born May 5th in 1818 and died March 14th, died March 14th, 1883. He was, like, a month and some change shy of being 65. So, of turning 65. So, okay guys, I completely forgot about this over here. Nice. So, let me know what your thoughts are on Marxism. I hope you guys really enjoyed, oh my god, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. I already have, like, the next, like, 3 planned. 3 or 4. I think it's 4, actually. No, I have the next 3 planned. So, yeah. Hopefully this is a hit, because I'm really excited about this. So, and, like, when I say I studied, like, y'all see my notes, I studied for this. So, I really liked it. This was really fun. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share, comment, and subscribe. Also, go check out Bailey Sarian's videos if you haven't. While I was taking down my hair, I definitely binged another video. I still have my Poshmark closet. These are all of the clothes that are in it. These are old clothes that were mine and my boyfriend's. We're getting rid of them. And once these are gone, once this rack is empty, then I'll make a new rack. But all of these are on Poshmark. I also have an Etsy store where I do handmade mitts, where I hand make knits or hand knit scarves and beanies. So, and then pretty soon I'm going to start adding chunky knit blankets because it's that time of year. So I'm really excited for that. So go check out my Etsy store. Both of those are linked down below. And I'll see you in my next video. Ah! Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay, Bye.